We're going to begin with breaking news from the occupied West Bank, where 2 Israelis have been killed in a suspected shooting attack. It happened near the Palestinian town of Huwara, just south of Nablus. The 2 men, aged 60 and 30, were targeted while they were inside a car wash. Violence in the occupied West Bank got worse over the past year after near-nightly raids by Israeli forces and settlers' assaults on Palestinian villages. Let's bring in Nida Ibrahim, who's joining us live now from Bethlehem. What more do we know about what's been going on, Nida?
We know that the Israeli army is treating what happened as a suspected shooting attack that took place at a car wash. In the beginning, there was a lot of confusion about what happened exactly. It's a Saturday. It's not usually a time when many Israelis are roaming in the occupied West Bank, but some of them actually do go to Palestinian places. And according to the initial investigations, they're talking about a man who approached the 2 Israelis and shot them at a close range and then managed to flee the scene. The Israeli army has been raiding several towns and villages near the Huwara town that has been really a flashpoint of attack by Palestinians against Israelis and by Israelis also against Palestinians. We've seen one of the most violent attacks take place in Huwara, where Israeli settlers rampaged in the village and in the town, burning Palestinian homes. And Palestinians would tell you that the Israeli army is soon to go and arrest Palestinians and find them when there is a shooting attack that targets Israelis. But when the settlers attacked Palestinian homes, many of them were only subjected to house arrest and released from prison.
Nida, thank you very much indeed. Nida Ibrahim bringing us up to date from Bethlehem. Well, Akiva Eldar is a political analyst and a contributor to Haaretz newspaper. He's joining us now from Tel Aviv. Very good to have you with us, sir, on Al Jazeera. Why is it that the town of Huwara is such a flashpoint?
The reason is that it is located in an area which brings together people who really don't like each other. On one hand, the settlers are crossing the Road 60 on their way to Israel, to Jerusalem or to Tel Aviv, and the Palestinians are using the same road, the same route. And it's a point of friction. And what happened in February shows that in February, when the settlers entered Huwara and burned houses, and it was a kind of a pogrom. And this was in retaliation to incident where 2 brothers, 2 Israelis, were killed by Palestinian. So it was not a matter of if it will happen again. Who is going to get killed? This was the question, and when is it going to happen? And I'm afraid that it's not the last time that you're going to ask this question.
One of the things I noticed was that apparently there had been plans for quite some time to build a bypass around Huwara that would allow Israelis to get around to the settlements without passing through the centre of town, passing through Palestinian areas. What's been the delay with that bypass? Because that would seem a logical response to the violence that we've been seeing.
It's an interesting question. I think that part of the answer is that you have in the Israeli governments people like Minister Smotrich and Ben-Gvir who want to show the world and to the Palestinian who is the boss, who is in charge, and putting more money on building bypass roads shows some kind of weakness in their view. And what they really want is the Palestinians, like they do in Hebron, and it is succeeding, is to get out of there and to make their life so miserable that Israel will not need to build a bypass road. The Palestinian will find their road out of the area, what they call Judea and Samaria. It's a zero-sum game for them.
Nida was just talking to us earlier about the fact that there has been such a regular number of attacks on both sides that we've been seeing. I want to ask you how this is going to affect, in global geopolitical terms, what kind of effect this is going to have. I mean, we're obviously talking about the Abraham Accords, which were initiated under the Trump administration to try to encourage normalization of relations between Israel and Arab nations. As we're seeing this cycle of violence in areas like Huwara, how do you think other regions, other potential signatories to those accords are going to react to all of this?
Yeah. Well, before I answer your global question, I have to say that this is not a typical incident, since settlers are not driving on Shabbat, and it's very weird that the location was in a car washing unit. So I'm not sure if we know that this was a terrorist attack and not some kind of a criminal action. The settlers are very careful because most of them are ultra-religious, is not to attack on Shabbat, and only if it is self-defense, or they can use the argument of self-defense. Now, to your question, yeah, I think that what happens in the global area, and not only in the Middle East, I think that if you look at the global picture, the relationship between Israel and the United States, it is very hard now for the United States to push harder on the Saudis to open an embassy in Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem. And the second thing is that the Israeli army right now is perceived in the Arab world and the Israeli society as very fragile. And actually, this is not the time to do business with Israel. This is unprecedented that the president of the United States refuses to see the prime minister of Israel, and that thousands of Israeli veterans, pilots, are refusing to serve in the army. So I don't see that the Saudis or any other Arab neighbors would like to shake hands with a prime minister who is considered pariah in the United States and in Europe.
It's really interesting to get your thoughts on this. Akiva Eldar, we appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much indeed for your time.